Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Off to the Races. I am your horse racing analyst, Alec, and on this week's show, I will be previewing every Grade 1 on Saturday, June 8th at Belmont Park. It's a huge weekend headlined by the Belmont Stakes, featuring Tacitus and War of Will. Although the Belmont is the biggest race this weekend, the Just a Game is the first Grade 1 on the card, so I'll be previewing that first. In fact, I'll be previewing everything in race order. So, the leader of the Jenny Wiley coming in appears to be Rushing Fall, coming off a win in the Jenny Wiley. She's going to be very tough to beat, and of course with Chad Brown as her trainer, you can't really go wrong in picking her. Beau Recall came off a nice win last out in the Churchill Downs Distaff Turf Mile. Those two would be good. If you want to do an exotic bet, you could use those two with Daddy is a Legend, Environs, and Got Stormy. The Ogden Phipps features one of the best female horses in the country. Midnight Bisou, at even money, coming off of 3 consecutive wins, is going to come into the Ogden Phipps just after a win in the Apple Blossom against Escape Clause and Elite. She looks very tough to beat here. I won't be surprised, though, if she is beaten by Come Dancing, who, with 2 wins this year, came in with a 114 buyer from the Distaff Handicap, and then won another race at Belmont called the Ruffian a few weeks ago. She appears to be very good and a big threat to Midnight Bisou, but Midnight Bisou's a very good horse. Come Dancing, I think, is going to do really well, and Escape Clause, who was second in the Apple Blossom, beaten very narrowly by Midnight Bisou, could do very well in this race. It'll be interesting to see what happens between those 3. The Jaipur is a very interesting race. If it's a fast track on Saturday, there's a chance of a world record with Disco Partner coming in, who has won the last 2 editions of the Jaipur, both in very, very fast times. One of them 1:05.67, a world record for 6 furlongs on the turf. I won't be surprised, though, if it's World of Trouble who ends up winning here. He is a machine. He really can sprint, and he was second in the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint last year, but I think so far he's the favorite to win it this year. I'll be very intrigued to see what his time is and how much he beats this field by. I think he's going to be very good. Undrafted, the old timer, has a chance for the exotics, and Belvoir Bay, who is second in the Al-Quoz Sprint at Dubai, could do well too. World of Trouble, though, is going to be really tough to beat. This year's Acorn Stakes, which is usually the race in which the Kentucky Oaks winners come back, is where Serengeti Empress comes back, who won the Kentucky Oaks this year. But I'm not going to pick her because she is a need-the-lead horse and an all-or-nothing horse. I don't trust her, so I'm going to pick Guarana. Yes, I know not to fall in love with maidens just after they win their first race, but this horse really was special in her first race. I think she's going to be really good. I wish she wasn't the favorite. I didn't think she would be, but I don't think she will be. I think people are going to look at Serengeti Empress's Kentucky Oaks win and say that she's already won at the Grade 1 and all that. So Guarana is really good, so I have her in front and Serengeti Empress in second. However, since Serengeti Empress is an all-or-nothing horse, she could finish first or she could finish last. This year's Woody Stephens really intrigues me. There are many good horses that could really move forward off this race with good potential. Mind Control is the favorite. He comes off a win in the Bayshore at Aqueduct. I think he's very good at the 7 furlong distance. His connections originally were trying to get him to the Kentucky Derby, but they realized that wasn't the way he wanted to go. So bringing him back to 7 furlongs is a really smart move in my opinion. Another horse that could benefit from the shortened distance is Much Better, who was at 1.16 miles in the Sham. You could see he was tiring out late, and ever since they brought him to sprinting distances, he's done much better, no pun intended. He really is a very good horse. He's very fast, which could hurt him in here. I'll put him near the lead, though, at the finish line just in case he can hang on to the fast pace. That could be the way they go for this race. He's a Baffert horse, and Baffert always does very well on Belmont Day. Another good horse is Honest Mischief, who came off of an incredible allowance race at Keeneland, and Complexity is making his return. I really liked this horse last year, but the 2 turns didn't work out well for him, and now he's making his return. He may need the race, so I won't put him on top, but he's a very nice horse with the potential to move on and win some really good races like the Alan Jerkins Memorial, per se. The quality of the Met Mile field might overshadow the Belmont Stakes. You got Colefront, the winner of the Godolphin Mile, McKinsey, who's very good for Bob Baffert coming off a win in the Ali Sheba, Thundersnow, winner of the Dubai World Cup, Firenze Fire, who was really good last out in the Run Happy. The list goes on and on. Matoli. You have so many good horses in this race, it's hard to come down to one. McKinsey's the favorite. I was really high on McKinsey coming into the year. I thought if I were to make a Horse of the Year prediction, then it would be him for Horse of the Year. So far, he hasn't exactly lived up to what I thought he would be, but he's been very good. 2 very close seconds, and then an impressive win in the Ali Sheba. Matoli comes off a nice win in the Churchill Downs on Kentucky Derby Day. The only question is the mile distance. I think he can get it, so no worries there. Promises Fulfilled is an intriguing horse at 12-1. I think he likes the mile best of the distances. Maybe 6 furlongs is a little bit too short for him. Colefront, another good horse. I don't think he's quite at the level of the 3 I just mentioned. Thundersnow, I'm a little worried about the distance. I think he wants to go 2 turns and farther. So right now, I'd say my top 3, not in any order, would be McKinsey, Promises Fulfilled, and Matoli. The Manhattan, which is right before the Belmont, is a really nice race this year, featuring Bricks and Mortar, a Chad Brown trainee and headliner of the whole field. Chad Brown actually has 4 horses in this year's Manhattan field, but Bricks and Mortar is obviously the best of them, having won all 3 of his races this year in fine fashion. In my second spot, I have Corbin, who is a very consistent horse and could get the job done at a decent price. Channelmaker, who loves Belmont, you have to include him in your wagers because he's a very nice horse, winner of the Man of War last out. So I think it'll be one of those 3 to cross the wire first in the Manhattan. The Belmont Stakes is the 3rd leg of the American Triple Crown of thoroughbred racing. This is a really good field this year. You have Tacitus, who was 3rd in the Derby and winner of the Wood Memorial, and the Preakness winner, War of Will. A question a lot of people have is whether War of Will would be going for a Triple Crown had the interference in the Derby not happened. Definitely not. But War of Will has a very decent chance to win this race, and I think that he could be the favorite at post time, even though Tacitus obviously has the better pedigree for it. Both of those 2 are going to be the headliners in this field. They're very near each other in odds, too. It'll be interesting to see who goes off as favorite. I think there's another horse that could really do well, Intrepid Heart. He's a good horse for Todd Pletcher. I didn't love his race last out, but his pedigree suggests he can go the 1.5-mile distance. And the other Todd Pletcher horse, Spinoff, yes, he finished 18th in the Derby, but that could have been because of a sloppy track. The inexperience doesn't help, but I think he's going to do pretty well in this field. Jovia, although he's like a really big long shot, he's going to be upwards of 30-1. I think that he could shock some people, finishing higher than maybe people expect. If he gets away with a slow early lead, he could maybe do well. So I have him in my wagers. What I should do is I should do a Jovia, War of Will, and Tacitus over those three plus the two Todd Pletcher's Exacta. That would cost $12, and I think that's a good bet overall with the big long shot Todd Pletcher and the two favorites. If you are interested in seeing my complete picks, watch till after the conclusion. There's a PowerPoint slide that I'll show. Thanks for watching. That's it for this week's show. Next week's show, I'll be recapping the Belmont as well as looking forward to the Stephen Foster, which is a good race going forward to the Breeders' Cup Classic in November. Please like and hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next week on Off to the Races.